Fencing partner.
Well, I've got good healing bones. Do you realize what you've done, Sean?
Probably saved Natalie Abbott's life.
Only lives you put at risk as a result. And my five are furious. Well, you can buy me dinner for my heroism in court.
I have one to meet, Ro.
Oh, you got a friend?
Are we still friends?
He was only an informant, John. Friends aren't so easily found.
Judge. The tape from the security camera. It is the only copy.
Thanks, Kurt. We'll have to send your friend some cigars.
Does he sleep outside your door?
Do you not think he's genuinely fond of me?
Are women allowed back to your digs?
Well, yes. But, the servants don't like it. See, officially, we'd have to have separate rooms, and so everybody gets shuffled down one room. You know what you'd be risking? Half of Ian's family money.
Ah. But you said the fidelity clause wasn't enforceable.
I'm going to be hanging out with some big names now, so I'm just getting some practice in. Hello!
Davina meets the biggest names in show business on her brand new chat show. Wednesday at 8 on BBC One.
I'm Dara Breen. Join me over on BBC Two right now for Mock the Week, where Rory Bremner, Hugh Dennis, Frankie Boyle and guests will be taking on Blair Brown, ID cards and smoking, with added Greg Proops.
How long is 5 seconds? Did you get it right? The way you responded to this experiment indicates how long you have to live. For results, go to our website. Time, coming soon to BBC 4.
The 10 o'clock news now on BBC One with Dermot Murnahan and Asad Ahmed.
A mudslide swallows a village in the Philippines. 1,500 people are missing, feared dead. Many of the victims are children. A primary school was amongst the buildings engulfed. Search efforts have been hampered by the danger of more mudslides caused by torrential rain. We'll have the latest from the Philippines on the desperate attempts to rescue as many as possible. Also tonight, more pain on the way for gas users. British Gas puts prices up by nearly a quarter. Controversial paediatrician Sir Roy Meadow wins his appeal against being struck off. And Shelley Rudman celebrates winning silver, but her boyfriend just misses out on a bronze.
And in BBC London news, jailed for life for murdering a policeman, Gary Nelson is convicted 13 years after the crime. And Harold and Albert leave Shepherd's Bush as Steptoe and Son take to the West End stage.
Good evening. More than 1,500 people are missing tonight, many feared dead after a landslide buried a village in the Philippines. The mud slid down a mountain after 2 weeks of heavy rain and engulfed hundreds of houses and a school full of children in the village of Ginsaogon on the island of Leyte. A survivor said it sounded like the mountain exploded and the whole thing crumbled. Andrew Harding reports from Manila.
Somewhere beneath the mud, a whole village lies buried. Hundreds of families missing, an elementary school submerged beneath a vast carpet of earth. You can see where the avalanche came from. A rain-drenched mountainside simply detached itself without warning. The survivors make it sound like a volcanic eruption. It was around 10 this morning, he says. The top of the mountain just exploded, then suddenly collapsed.
So actually, may earthquake pa nauna yung earthquake.
There was an earthquake, this man says. Then an explosion, and huge boulders started rolling down the mountainside.
nasunod yung malaking mga bato.
Dwarfed by the scale of the disaster, a makeshift rescue operation begins. Locals using whatever tools they can find. But so far, only a handful of survivors have been brought out. This woman somehow plucked alive from beneath the mud. Her mouth and eyes still clogged. But where are the 100 visitors who'd come for a women's group meeting this morning? And what about the children from the local elementary school? Some 250 are believed to have been in their classes. No word on them so far. Only one young girl is dug out, barely alive, and rushed to safety. Fragile and still caked in mud.
We have been able to rescue only one child and one adult from the school area. The rescue operations have been hampered by the fact that even the rescuers' lives are endangered.
The mud is still treacherous here, and there have been more landslides. This isolated area is now hard to reach by land. More help is urgently needed and is now being promised.
Help is on the way. They will come from land, sea, and air. Hopefully, you'll soon be out of harm's way.
But the chances of finding many more survivors do not look good. Heavy rains triggered this disaster, but many here blame decades of illegal logging, which weakened the mountainsides that now entomb this village. Andrew Harding, BBC News, in the Philippines.
Ugly on the outside, actually.
Really? How will the new law affect the housing market?
A lot of people who might otherwise come to the market won't come. They simply won't bring their properties forward. There's only one thing that's going to happen. Prices are going to go through the roof.
Good evening. Anyone who's bought a house will know the pain that's involved. The high prices, the fear of being outbid, the search for a mortgage. But perhaps the biggest worry of all is the survey. Potential buyers can spend hundreds of pounds only to discover that their dream property is riddled with faults. But from June next year, that will change. A new law will force homeowners to provide all those vital facts in a so-called home information pack the moment their property goes on the market. Ministers have hailed it as a breakthrough for buyers. But as the system draws nearer, some are pointing to the hidden costs, as Jonathan Maitland reports.
Welcome to 174 Barry Road in South London. It's not exactly Kensington Palace, but it's all mine and I want to sell. So I'm putting in a bit of graft and some new furniture because, as any house doctor will tell you, selling is all about presentation. Or should I say, it was, because from June next year, I'll be legally obliged to reveal all the reasons not to buy my flat in a home information pack. Now, speaking as someone who's trying to get rid of a property, that doesn't sound like good news. But for those looking to buy, it could be.
Home information packs are actually meant to help people make an informed choice about their property. It's the biggest thing any of us are ever going to buy and most expensive. And at the moment, there's less information about a house than there is about a £50 DVD player, which believes that the new system will work because it's about giving people the information to make the right choices and actually changing the way in which we buy and sell homes, which for so long has just been about a whim and maybe intuition as opposed to fact and information.
But it's not just about giving buyers better information. According to the government, home information packs are going to make the property market work better because, according to the figures, 1 in 4 sales actually collapse after the initial offer has been made. And that leaves a lot of people, usually the potential buyer, out of pocket. People like Emma Easterbrook from Kent. 2 years ago, she sold the house she owned with her boyfriend and began hunting for something bigger and better. It took time. But in October last year, she thought she'd found it.
After over a year of searching, we were absolutely thrilled to have found this property. It ticked all the boxes. It had a lovely garden. It had parking, which was vital for us. Had plenty of space. It was our dream home, and we were just so excited to be at the prospect of moving in there.
Emma made an offer on the spot, which was accepted, subject to a survey. And like any other home buyer, this is where she started paying. First, Emma wanted to give it more than the basic once over, so opted for the recommended home buyers survey. Cost £600. Second, as the sale progressed, she paid her mortgage company an arrangement fee of £450. With legal fees adding up to £250, Emma ended up spending more than £1,000. But it didn't end there.
We found out there are an awful lot of problems with the survey. It had the property had asbestos ceilings, asbestos roof tiles. There's a problem, severe cracking in some of the walls, damp in a kitchen area. We didn't know whether or not to walk away from the property at that point, but we decided, as we'd already spent sort of nearly £2,000, we'd see if we could make it work somehow. We got some asbestos specialists in, that cost around £250, and we also got builders in, that's around £60. And they said that it definitely needed asbestos removing because it was such a serious problem, and also the mortgage company wouldn't lend to the figure we needed with those problems.
Emma renegotiated a reduced purchase price, and after 3 long and costly months, looked set to move in. But just a week before completion, the owner dropped a bombshell.
We found out that the vendor had pulled out, absolutely no reason. That was it, that the sale had fallen through. We were devastated. As you can imagine, all that money spent, all that time wasted, the thought of having to go back to square one of looking for properties, renegotiating, more surveys, it's just horrible. We were just heartbroken.
Supporters of home information packs say their introduction should put an end to stories like Emma's. Whereas she had to find out all the problems with the property herself, it will soon be down to the seller to reveal that information before it goes on the market.
We see, on average, about 3 months to make from offer to completion. That can vary, of course. We're hoping under the new system it can be a matter of a month, even less, because all the information, the legal searches, the survey, the valuation will all be tied into this pack, so it's just a matter of the buyer and seller signing on the dotted line.
But what will the new home information packs mean for sellers like me? If I have to list every fault in my property, will I ever stand a chance of shifting it? There's only one way to find out, and that's by putting together a home information pack myself. By the end of this programme, you and anyone else who's tempted to put in an offer for this place will know exactly what's wrong with it.
What's it going to mean? What's going to happen? What's going to be different when the legislation comes in?
Well, in simplistic terms,
To get the ball rolling, I met Dan Dacey. His company already puts together the packs for those sellers who want to provide them on a voluntary basis.
Home information pack will have a home condition report in it, or in common language, a survey. I think most people understand a survey. And that will tell you about the condition of the property. It's not a valuation, it's about the physical condition of the property.
And reasonably detailed, yeah?
Yeah, it will talk about interior rooms, the chimneys, the roof.
Right.
And I think all the things that, if they're not correct, it's going to involve you in money further down the line.
And what else apart from the survey?
There'll be the other aspect is the legal aspect. So they'll tell you whether you get good legal title to the property.
So all the conveyancing stuff?
Yeah, all the stuff that maybe sellers and buyers leave to their lawyer, and probably still will do that, that will be there up front.
What's the effect of the new home buyers pack going to be on the way we buy houses and the way we sell our houses?
Well, it should speed up the process because if you find an issue, it will be there on day one, and you can either renegotiate a price, sort out any potential legal problems, rather than find that maybe 6 weeks down the line and then have to go back and renegotiate, and there can't be many people that have bought and sold a house have not been in that position.
Sounds good if you're a buyer, doesn't it? All those searches and surveys being carried out at the seller's expense instead of yours. But according to critics, and that includes many estate agents, you should think again before opening the champagne.
When the seller comes to the market, they've got to have a pack prepared, and that's going to cost them, the government reckons, on average £635. In London, it's likely to be well over